Make it make sense, I might pay you. Make it make sense, I might pay you.
Make it make sense. Make it, baby. Make it make sense. Come on, make it make sense. Come on, make it, baby. Make it make sense. Come on, make it.
What's good, y'all? Let's Make Sense of a Podcast. We are back for another week. And like we say, Ash,
the truth you don't want, but always need.
Absolutely. Back, episode 3. Like we always say, follow us, Let's Make Sense of It Podcast, or Let's Make Sense of It _ and follow us on YouTube. Like, subscribe. Definitely like and subscribe on YouTube. Just type in Let's Make Sense of It. You know, the good thing about our name, you could just type in Let's Make Sense of It. Bam, first thing pop up, Let's Make Sense of It Podcast. Hashtag Let's Make Sense of It on YouTube. Listen, it all pops up. Take it right there. And before we get started, we actually have a sponsor. We're sponsored by Lipford Contractors and Remodeling. Now, tax season's coming around. And, you know, people always want to get stuff done. You know, people still got a little leftover money. You never know. So with Lipford Contractors, you know, that's my guy. Shout out my man Teddy over there. They do it all. You know, they do the sheetrock. You know, you need a floor done. You need a basement remodeled. My man at Lipford Contractors, my man Teddy, he does it all. Philly, Jersey, Delaware. He did the whole tri-state area. So make sure you get with him. The number is 267-225-1195. You can hit him up, see some of his work on Instagram at Lipford Contractors. That's LIPFORD Contractors _ on IG. And you can email him at lipfordcontractors@gmail.com. His slogan is, you're going to love our work. So tell him Van sent you too. Tell him Van sent you. Hit that number, ask for Teddy, and tell him Van sent you. It's definitely appreciated. So, episode 3, like we always have, we got the theme of the show. So today's theme of the show is healing versus dealing with / coping. And I think some people think they're healed, think they're healing, but they're really just kind of dealing with stuff just because, you know, they don't really know how to heal.
Right.
So this first definition, I'm going to give you all 3 definitions. I'm going to give you healing, I'm going to give you healed, and then I'm going to give you coping with. So healing, still triggered, and you're trying to get over it. You know you have to get through it, and you're doing the work, but you're not 100% just yet. Would you agree with that definition of healing?
Yeah.
Or would you add more to that definition of healing?
I mean, if you got it at the dictionary, what else can I add?
It's not out there. No, this wasn't out the, no. This wasn't. This actually wasn't out the dictionary. It's just some words I seen. I was like, all right, this is
advanced. This is advanced.
Not completely. I saw it, and I kind of spent it and put it in my own little words there. So.
Oh, okay.
Something along those lines, yeah.
Paraphrasing.
Exactly.
It didn't come out the dictionary.
Nah, it didn't come out the dictionary, but it wasn't completely 100% my words either. It's a little mixture here, but
healing is I think healing is going through the process of dealing with whatever you went through, like the proper process of dealing with whatever you went through. So the hard stuff that you kind of ignore or don't want to face head on. You actually dealt with it, and then you're going through the process of it not becoming a everyday battle. It's just becoming something that you know you're going to get through slowly but surely.
Right. I think healing for me would be kind of along the lines of what you said, but you gotta, when you wake up every day, you realize that, and when you're going through healing, you realize that everything's not going to be perfect. You know, healing is a process that sometimes people don't want to go through because they want to just kind of fast forward past that. Somebody might have hurt them, and they don't want to keep dealing with their trauma. So they say, "Oh, I'm healed from that," or they'll just put on the front that they're healed, but really they're not. They go straight from being hurt to saying they're healed, and don't actually go through the process of healing. You can't be healed if you're not healing. It's like a process. Like if you get a scab, the scab just doesn't heal overnight. Like it has to heal. Like it has to, you know. I mean, put a little peroxide on it. You know, put a Band-Aid on it. Put some stitches on it. But it has to heal. It doesn't just get healed overnight.
I mean, I think healing is just a process. It's another part of growth. So if you, I don't know, if you have a loss or just a setback in life or anything like that, and it's taking a toll on you, the process of healing is to not, shut everybody out in the beginning. You will, because you don't really know how to process what's happening to you or what's happened to you. So your ideal thing, the first thing you're going to do is shut everybody out. But to start the healing process is to know that you don't have to shut everybody out for a long period of time.
Right.
Like, you can shut them out for the moment to get your mind into the right state. And then when you come to, you don't have to, bring everybody back around right immediately.
Right.
You can just start, a few people you just talk to and let them know, like, hey, I'm just trying to heal. I'm trying to get through everything. I'm trying to get out my grievances. I don't want to take it out on anybody. So just be patient with me while I'm dealing with it. And then once you go through that entire healing process, you go through the sadness, you accept the days for what they are, but you know that the next day you're going to at least put the attempt to making it better.
Right.
And, and making it a positive instead of a negative.
Right.
Then, you'll continue to go through the healing. Like, I don't really think that anybody is completely healed of anything.
Correct.
I feel as though when people say, they're completely healed, like, you're not completely healed just yet, because if it's something that you had to have healing for, it doesn't just go away.
Right.
You can't tell me that somebody that lost a parent is healed after they lose their parent because it's been years since it happened. So if they lost their parent when they were 9 and now they're 45, they're healed.
Right.
No, because every now and then
Still think about it.
you still think about it. It's just that you're at a point now where it no longer, where you don't have to break down in the middle of the day because of it.
And some people still listen. Years might go past and they still might break down.
Yeah.
Just randomly out of nowhere, just break down. And don't know why, but it's normal. It's totally normal to heal people. It's okay to heal. It's okay to don't. And when it comes to the friends around people that are healing, sometimes you just gotta like you said, sometimes you gotta let your friends know, like, it's nothing against y'all, but I'm dealing with something. I'm not acting different. I'm not acting a certain way to you guys. I just deal with it. Sometimes people don't want to talk about stuff either. Right. Like, it's nothing wrong with that either. I mean, it's always good to get it out, but at a certain point in time, you just gotta just get right with yourself first before you try to get advice from everybody else, because everybody else is going to tell you, oh, I'm here for you. Oh, yada yada yada. They're going to try to give you, I don't know. They're going to try to tell you, they're going to try to give you advice, but it's really nothing that they can tell you at that particular time when you dealing or healing from something.
I mean, yeah, you're right about that. Everybody can give you advice, but for moments like that, it's not going to really help you until they're, like, completely in your shoes. Right. Like, the most advice you can give somebody that's healing through something is that give them the reality of it. Like, it's not going to be easy, and you have to like, face it. When you're going to face it, it's totally up to you. That's in your time frame, but you have to face it. Right. Because it's not going to get any better. All you're going to do is bury it, and then it's not going to be thought about, but then something easy can trigger you. Yeah. And then you're set off. Yeah. Because you never dealt with it.
We're going to come back to that. We're going to give examples of that, but I'm going to give you the definition of being healed. You no longer let that particular thing control you, and you've done the work. You're continuously exercising your healing. You make others live up to that and respect the work you're doing on yourself. So basically, you're healed from it. You dealt with it. People come around. You don't let certain things bother you when it comes, because you're completely healed from that. Whether it's, give me an example, like it's a relationship, you had a bad breakup. You went through the process. And now you feel healed. You're in a good space. You're not going to let that particular wound open back up because you're healed from that. Not just saying you're healed from that.
Okay. So now I'll go back to what I said earlier when I said you're not completely healed. I would take that and say I don't believe you're completely healed from every situation, but situations like maybe a breakup and like stuff like that, I believe you can be completely healed from, because if you're still not healed from that breakup, then you have issues because your issue is going to be carried into your new relationship. Absolutely. If you're not completely healed from that breakup, you're always going to have those trust issues, or when they do a certain thing that reminds you of your ex and what they did, it triggers you instead of just being like, I'm not even going to pay that any mind. Right. Like, it's not a big deal, or whatever keeps it me. Or you deal with it right then and there. If you feel as though it's a trigger, or if you feel as though it's something that makes you think more than you should about it, then I would say something right then and there, like, hey, this bothers me, blah, blah, blah. You don't have to bring up your past relationship. Just say, like, hey, this is something that bothers me. Like, this
is something that triggers me.
This is something that we need to deal with. We need to talk about. I wouldn't mind if you wouldn't do it anymore, or try not to.
Right. That's where the communication comes
Yeah.
in. Definitely when you had you had traumas from your past relationships, you have to be able to communicate that with your new partner, the person you're dealing with now, so they know, like, all right, this triggers me, so, or this triggers them. So, you know, maybe I shouldn't do this. Maybe I should approach this a different way. Maybe I should not give those same signs that trigger him in the past. It's like, all right, I need to do this. I need to communicate with them to say, all right, what am I doing wrong? How can I help you?
Right.
How can we not get past? Because some people just, when they get triggered, it's hard for them to get past. But if you with somebody that you can communicate with, you can get past it a little easier because y'all working together. Y'all kind of, that person should know not to do certain things that trigger you.
That's true.
And if they continue to do that, then might not be the person for you.
That's not the person.
Might not be the person for you.
They not listening. They don't
Yeah,
give a
no.
fuck.
They just
Like,
doing it just
sir,
because,
ma'am,
yeah. Exactly.
they don't give two shits.
And coping with / dealing with, or I should say coping with, to deal with and attempt to overcome problems and difficulties. Now, that's the attempt to heal. Like, that's the people that say, oh, I'm healed, I'm good to go. Matter of fact, you get this quote. It says, why do people think they got to heal after a breakup? ? It says, I ain't injured. Next. That's somebody who went through a traumatic situation or something like that, or just think they're invincible. They're just too tough. They're just too, it don't matter. All right, I broke up. I'm not, they didn't mess with me mentally or nothing. I'm cool. I'm going on to the next. And that's not always good. Like, because that's how you take, like we just was talking about, that's how you take those that hurt and you project it onto somebody else that probably really trying to love you, really trying to care for you, but you just, oh, fuck this person. Just like the last person, just like the person before that. You can't project that on everybody.
I mean, I think the thing about it, though, healing, being healed, and coping all go in tie with each other. There's only
all the steps.
maybe a few words in each, like, definition or paraphrase that separates them from each other. But you have to cope with everything that you have to heal from.
Right.
So you have to cope with the fact that your relationship is ended and you thought this was, the one. You have to cope with the fact that your sibling is no longer here. You have to cope with the fact that you lost a grandmother. You have to cope with the fact that you lost a parent. You have to cope with the fact that you lost that job. Like, you have to cope with everything in your life that sends you through an emotional journey. You have to cope with it because when one thing comes to an end, there's a new beginning for something.
Right.
And the new beginning of a loss is that you have to learn how to live life without this person.
And that's hard. That's hard for some people. When you've been, like, some people, they've been with somebody for so long, or they really put so much time and effort into this person that when it's over, that could drive a person crazy.
Yeah.
Like,
And it's like, with healing and with coping, it's everybody needs to know that during those times, it's okay to not be okay. Like, it's okay to not be the strong one. Even if you were the type of person, you gave everybody else advice, you were always, the backbone for other people when they were going through something. And then that you're going through it, you're thinking that the advice you were giving them to be strong and to do this, that, and the third, like, you're going through all the steps, but you're going through it as a robot and not actually as a human being feeling these emotions that are coming at you like a wave. Like, you have to, like, it's a lot of shit is just gonna knock you down. It might knock you over, knock you down, and knock you under. But it's all, what is your next step from that moment? And that's when you go into the healing process.
Correct.
So you're coping with it is the fact that you think that this is exactly, like, I have to do 1, 2, 3, 4, or 5 to get through this. Like, I know that. Instead of you saying, like, I have to get to 1.
Right. And
saying I have to get to 1 is like saying, I'm starting the healing process. Like they said, with everything, acknowledgement is always the first step. Acknowledge that you're not okay. Acknowledge that you need help.
And some people can't acknowledge they need help. They'll tell you, no, I'm good. People outgood you to death into depression because they don't want to seem as like a weak person. They don't want to seem as the person that, oh, this happened to me before. I'm telling my friends this, and they're judging me as though, oh, it's just you. Like, you keep doing this, and this. But really, that person has never really healed from any of their past relationships or any of the thing that they dealt with. But you got your friends telling you, oh, it's just you, or you'll be fine, or this or that. But sometimes you can't do that. People really need to have conversations with someone Someone that you can trust. I'm not saying have conversations with multiple people. You got to tell the whole world your business.
Keep telling the story over
and over again, right? Like, you got to tell it to the person that they're going to give you real advice, not just give you the advice that say, forget that person or it's going to be all right. No, sometimes you got to say, no, it's okay. It's okay to cry.
It's okay to not be okay.
It's definitely okay to not be okay.
And you don't always want that person either that's going to be like, oh, well, or your girlfriend, she'd be like, oh, girl, we just going to go out. We just going to get drunk. We're going to forget about that shit and da-da-da. Like, the first, day or two, that might be okay. But it's, eventually,
y'all got to talk. I got
to talk to some fucking body.
Exactly.
I'm feeling some type of way. And it might even be those situations, if you was in a relationship and, either she or he, they were nothing ass motherfuckers. They were the worst partner, or they emotionally abused you, physically, whatever the case may be. They cheated on you mentally, anything like that. And if that happened and people were wondering well, why are you crying over? You should be happy that they're gone and did it. But it's just even if there are bad things that happen in a relationship, there's a reason why it ended. There were good things. There were good memories that you had with this person that you hold on to.
That was holding you there.
That was holding you there. So you can't tell somebody to just get over it. That's the worst thing to say.
The worst thing you could tell somebody, just get over it.
Just get over it.
You just can't tell somebody to just get over it.
Or that's life. Come the fuck. We know what life is. Life is a bitch sometimes.
But you just can't say get over it.
You can't just say get over it. You have to, if you're not that type of friend, or you're not the type of person that can be there for somebody in that way, not saying you're a bad person. Right. It's just that you don't know the right things to say. Step out the way.
You don't always have to say something.
Step out the way and let somebody else do it. Or do a good gesture to where you don't have to actually say, your actions show it. If you know that your friend is down and out, and because of any type of emotional battle that they're going through, or whatever case may be, maybe you just send them something, a good care package, or whatever case may be, some movies, some treats, or if they like flowers, or if they like tea, or if they really like Starbucks, you order them coffee,
something
order them
small,
breakfast, something small,
makes them feel good, gets their mind off of something just for a little bit, just something comforting.
Because you don't know, you can't articulate the words to actually say to them
everybody should
I
be
know
giving
what
out
you're
advice.
going through, or I'm sorry about what you're going through. You don't know what to say. That's perfectly fine, but don't be a dickhead and just be well, shit happens. You gonna find a new nigga, or shit happens. You'll be all right. Think about all the good times and everybody don't want to hear that shit.
People don't want to hear that shit. Yeah,
they don't want to hear that shit.
Especially when it comes to relationship. It's hard enough to tell somebody dealing with something with death. That's the hardest time to tell anybody anything. All you can say is I'll be there for you, but at the end of the day, it's there's really nothing you can do. You can only just comfort that person. I mean, you can't. Especially if it's a sudden death, or if it was a close death. Just that's all you can really do. Just be there for the person.
And it's and that's the hardest part, because you don't know how to be there for them. You don't really know. You don't know if you're doing too much. Some people just want you to be there because they have somebody there, but you don't have to say anything. They just want to be in silence.
Exactly.
But they just need your presence there, because that makes them feel a little bit better.
Right. Sometimes, like you said, you just want the presence of somebody around. Just somebody to be there. Just the physical presence, just to be there, just to know, all right, I got somebody that's got my back. I'm dealing with something. This quote: letting go is hard, but holding on to something not meant for you is harder.
Yeah. It's just I used to say to one of my friends, when she was in a she was in a bad relationship, her girlfriend was a piece of shit. And I can say this on camera because I don't give a fuck. Her girlfriend was a piece of shit. Right. She just mentally and emotionally, she just fucked with her a lot.
And it's a lot of relationships like that.
And my friend, she would understand that this is happening to her. She understood this was happening to her. She understood what she was doing wrong, but it was so hard for her to leave, because she felt like she was going to be alone. She felt like she felt like this girl was the only person that was going to love her, but the girl didn't love her.
Right.
So she felt like the attention she was getting from this girl was everything, and she wasn't going to find anybody else that was going to do that. But what I used to tell her is that, because I really believe God is real, because if you're in a situation and it is not meant for you, but you won't move, he's going to make you uncomfortable.
Absolutely.
Every time. It don't matter. I'm not even talking about a relationship. It can be a job. Yeah, if you're somewhere you're not supposed to be, and you just won't move because you're comfortable, because you think that you don't, it's no better out there, or if you take that leap of faith that something's gonna happen and you're gonna wind up flat on your ass, he will make you very uncomfortable for you to see that this shit is not for you.
Right.
It's not for you even to move.
And when it comes to, especially men and women, but when it comes to men dealing with these females, a lot of men will get into these females' heads. Number one, it's called manipulation. Females. Sometimes a dude will say, "This the famous one. These dudes out here just want to fuck you. They don't want to deal with you." That's one way to get in your head. Then they'll say, "Oh, there's nobody out there better. There's nobody out there for you besides me." Or they'll do this, or they'll start. This is another one. They'll try to talk down on you, or they'll try to say hurtful things to you because they know that's going to trigger you. It's going to make you mad, but it's also going to make you think. So now your head's really all the way fucked up. You could be living with this person. You could they could be living with you. Y'all been together 10, 15 plus years, and you don't want to leave that relationship because you told this man that you told him all your secrets. You told him you was abused in the past. Any deep dark secret you told this man, and if he comes up and he uses this against you, number one, that's the first red flag right there. Because if somebody who really loves you, they're not going to intentionally want to hurt you.
Right.
So it's okay to leave. Like it's okay to leave when you're in a relationship or when you're in a situation that's unhealthy.
Right.
It's a lot of unhealthy relationships, but a lot of females particular, males too, but a lot of females particular, their self-esteem gets so hurt because you've been dealing with this guy for so many years and he's been chipping away at your self-esteem and chipping away at your mind that now you just think that there's nothing else on the other side of that wall, or there's nothing else on the other side of that bridge, or there's nothing else on the other side of anywhere. The grass is not green on the other side because you look back, you look past what he's done to you, and you look at the good times y'all had together, but you're not looking at the times you had now. You're not looking at the times that he's being controlling now. You're not looking at the times that he wants to be abusive now. He wants to do this and do that, but you still want to stay with him because you fear that nobody else will be able to accept you. There's always going to be somebody that's going to accept you. That's for sure. There's always going to be somebody that accepts you, flaws and all. Don't let this one guy or this one chick tell you that there's nothing better out there for you. It's okay. Sometimes the first step is always the hardest step.
Always.
It's always the hardest step.
Because you didn't think you could do it.
Exactly. But once you get through it, listen, you'll be surprised because you're stuck somewhere and you're unhappy. Like it could be a female.
Like, fuck this shit.
Exactly. Female, she busting her ass. She could be taking care of the apartment. She could be taking care of everything, but this dude, he talking to her crazy. He telling her this and that. He controlling her. Oh, you can't go here. He popping up here and there. Like, no, that's not healthy. Yeah, that's not healthy at all. It's not cool at all, and it's not. It's just toxic all the way around. Not one of those toxics people joke around with. No, that shit's really fucking nuclear toxic. Like that shit's not good. Yeah. And it's okay to, like I said, you got to walk away. You got to start somewhere because if not, the year's gonna keep going past and now you're just stuck. Now you're just going to be an old person. Stuck in this situation. And you're just angry
because you didn't want to move.
Yeah,
like it's hard, and like I said, a lot of things are always easier said than done because somebody has more strength than the next person to do something, to make that first move, and then you have the person who really doesn't have the strength at all and has to find it more than the next person because they don't know how to take that next step because they've been pushed down every turn they got, and they thinking that this is the end all be all, and they don't know if somebody else is going to help them
right
the way they should be helped. And it's just like a lot of times life is just jumping. Yeah. And it's not even taking the next step. Sometimes it's jumping to the next step. Right.
And it's crazy because it's mostly with relationships because as you see, it's a lot of female entrepreneurs out here. They'll take that step. They'll take those losses when it comes to like a hair salon, they come to a nail salon, they come to a spa, they come to anything. But when it comes to a male, they scared to take that step because they don't. Some of them just scared. They don't want to end up alone. They don't want to go through. Being alone is it's not for everybody. Everybody can't be alone.
That is true too. Everybody can't be alone. But my whole thing is that you have to learn how to be alone. And accept it before you can enjoy the company of somebody else. Because when you learn to be alone and accept it and you're fine with it, I'm not saying every time you get with somebody, you're going to be like, well, I'm comfortable being alone. I don't need your ass. Right. You automatically begin a relationship. You're like, I don't need your shit.
You know what? Some chicks get stuck like that and they be alone so much that they don't even know how to be with somebody.
That is true too. Like, I mean, that is very true. But my whole point is that if you learn how to be alone, like when you get with your next relationship or whatever the case may be, like you'll go into the relationship with the mindset that it's okay Like, I want this person to last. I want this relationship to last as far as it's gonna last to. Right. But I'm okay if something happens and I have to wind up alone again.
Right.
Because every time that you get in something, even if it lasts you 10 years, that doesn't mean it's the end.
Right.
Because that 10 years could have just been 10 years with this person. And then that 10 years up, now you have somebody else coming in line. That's coming down the same path as you. And now this person may be your end, or you might have to go another. And people don't want to do that because they're like, why would I waste my time and do that? If you were in a relationship with somebody and in those amount of years, if you come out the end of it and say you wasted your time, that is your problem, because during that relationship, what did you do?
Right. Exactly.
What did you do? You can't just say, like, I wasted my time with this person after all these years. What did you do in that relationship? Did y'all just go on cute dates? Did y'all not, like, build something together? Did y'all not build, a business or a kid? I don't know. Did you not get anything out of this relationship? Like, you didn't become a better person because of it
nothing,
either?
Right.
Nothing.
Like nothing.
Y'all just was fucking and talking.
Exactly. That's it.
Fucking talking and dating. That's all y'all was doing?
Let me ask you a question, because I think I seen this earlier. The chick must have broke up with, she broke up with her dude, and then she got in shape. But the people were commenting, it was like, so it took for you to, why weren't you upholding yourself when you were in a relationship with this guy? Why did you wait until he felt the type of way about your weight and left? Now you wanted to change. Why is that?
So that comes into I believe that comes into listening to other people. And listening to other people's advice, telling you that you don't have to change for anybody and da-da-da. If you went into the relationship a size 8,
right,
gonna make it that way. You went to the relationship a size 8, and during your years together, you got comfortable. And maybe he got comfortable too, but his weight didn't change that much. But yours did. You done, or you might have pushed out some kids. Right. Now your weight is, another thing or whatever. Now you went up. Now you a size 16. Okay. So between dealing with, maybe you dealt with postpartum and you didn't feel like yourself, and you had body issues. It all depends on how he came at her and said it. If he came at her on some like, you fat shit, then I'll be like, well, fuck you. I ain't changing shit. Fuck you. Until I feel like I need to change, I will. But if he came to her and was like, like, babe, I see you unhappy with your weight. Like, well, we can do something about it. Like, we can do this and we can do that. And if she still didn't feel motivated, like, let him motivate her. But it's all how you come to somebody about it. But you can't go into a relationship and think like, oh, well, my man's gonna love me, regardless and everything like that, because your appearance will change throughout the years. That is very well true. But you can't just be like, well, fuck it. Right. Because you didn't come into this like, this way. Right. And so now as the years go on, if you gained a midget, this goes for a male or a female. If you gain a midget and that
gained a midget,
and it all becomes.
Never heard that one before. You gained a midget.
Listen, there was one of Medea play when he was like, I don't care if she gained a midget or a mountain, something like that. I'll love forever. But it's like if a male, your man or your woman go into a relationship a certain size, that's what you're attracted to. Right. Right. If you ain't got no pics, then you probably don't give a shit. But if you attracted to, small, petite, and everything like that, that's what you're attracted to. That's what you marry. That's what you in a relationship with. So if that person goes from that size to something that you're not attracted to, right, it's all about how you approach it.
Yeah, don't just, like you said, don't just say, damn, you getting kind of big there.
You can't just be like, damn, babe,
you look a little fat there.
It's just like I'm not gonna keep listening to you complain about your weight, right, and not do anything about it. So yeah.
All right, so we're gonna get back to that in a second, but this is our 2 cent segment right now. Listen, we got the number now too, by the way.
Got the number,
y'all gotta call in. This in case y'all don't got the number, I'm give it to you right now. It's 267-648-7208. You call that number, you know what I'm saying? You'll hear Ash. She'll say, leave your drama after the beat. You know what I'm saying? And we went all of the craziness, the drama, the confessions too. Listen. You might have been holding this in for a long time.
It's anonymous.
It is anonymous. Listen, it's 100% anonymous. Just leave your messages there, because I know y'all got some stories. We want to hear them too.
If it's a confession, I might judge you a little bit. It depends what your confession is.
It depends what it is. Leave like, oh, okay.
I'm gonna be like, I might say a prayer for you.
Listen,
my nightly prayer.
And we gonna listen. You leave that message. we gonna play it on the show, right? We got none right now, but we gave y'all the number. So as the show goes on, we want y'all to hit that line. You know what I'm saying? Call that line. Don't stop DMing us. We want to talk. We want you to say it. Talk on the line. So
don't type it.
We got none right now, but y'all got that number. Make sure y'all call that number. But I got a scenario for you.
Okay.
It says a friend of mine is married. Says the mother-in-law brought matching PJs for all of the kids except for the one that doesn't belong to her son. Is she wrong?
Yes.
That's first of all, that's super petty.
Fucking petty. And I wouldn't. None of my kids would be wearing the fucking pajamas.
Like what? Like. First of all,
like what?
That's just the ultimate disrespect, I guess you would say.
It is disrespectful.
Like you brought all of the kids just because that one. First of all, in my family, we don't do the step nothing. Like if you you my sister. Like you my brother, you my brother. Like we not doing this the step pop, the step. No, we family. So that whole this kid don't belong to him. So what? It's still. Is
that kid still in the household with him?
Absolutely, he's still a male figure.
That's still like what the fuck?
Like what is
Excuse
that?
me?
Like what is
and
that?
And if it's all right, that's not her son's child. Okay, but that's his wife's child. Right. Exactly. So at the end of the day, you should be buying all of them or none of them pajamas.
Right. Like you know how petty you gotta be. You bought all of these pajamas. You didn't buy one pair. Like.
And I saw that post too, and the mother is wrong because you put the fucking pajamas on them kids and took the picture.
Yeah.
And you have that one kid that's singled out that doesn't have it on.
She was in the wrong too. Yeah.
What type of? All three of them is in the wrong. The mother, the father, and the mother-in-law. They're all wrong because the dad of those other kids, even if that's not your kid, should have said that's not right.
Yeah. Somebody along the line, so y'all grown. Somebody along the line should have said, all right, this ain't even cool. And
as the mother of all those babies, you should have felt some type of way that she didn't buy your one child the fucking matching pajamas. You're disgusting. How about that, sis? You're disgusting.
Very disgusting.
Very disgusting.
Very disgusting. Let me ask you this one. So I'm guessing this was a younger person. She said, I believe housing assistance should be offered to the ages of 18 and 25 only to get young adults on their feet. I think it's unfair individuals are 25 plus on housing assistance, whereas though first of all, she can't even write. It says, whereas though younger people who's just getting started have to get it out the mud or pay $1,500 in rent. First of all, it says it's called life. But it says because there's no room for applicants, all because Aunt Debbie, first of all, what Aunt Debbie do? Why it be Aunt Debbie? Aunt Debbie, who's 42 years old, has been on assistance since she was 19 years old. That don't sit right with me. At 27 plus, there should be no way your rent is $105.32. This sounded personal because she had the exact number.
I actually agree with her. I agree with it. If you're just starting out, especially like now, because like it's a well-known fact, you kind of have to either have a really good job or you have to work two jobs just to make ends meet to a certain point where you want to live at least a comfortable life.
Right.
Or whatever case to me. Like 50% of Americans are living paycheck to paycheck.
Correct.
Like it's the land of the free but the home of the poor.
Very true.
Because because every dollar you make is going to something else, and it's just like
every dollar you touch, you
saving to take a vacation or whatever case, but you scared to call out of work because they automatically on your ass about not coming to work, but they don't give a fuck about your health. But then when it comes to housing assistance, she's absolutely right. If you're just starting out on your own, you might not want to college because college is not for everybody, but you want your own place.
Correct.
When you come out at 18 and 19, ain't no way you getting a good ass job that's paying you more than, I would say, $13 an hour. Yeah. Sometimes you get paid less than that. Yeah. You ain't gonna get no apartment on that amount. And if you do find an apartment, you're going to be house poor because you can't afford to pay for shit in it.
Especially if you live in a big city, like an East Coast city or a West Coast city or somewhere like one of those bigger cities, you ain't afford nothing.
You can't do that. And then the thing about it with housing assistance is that you have people that have been on it for years. People I know were applying for this shit in the 80s and have still gotten nothing. But you have people that have been on this shit for years and they trying to give it to their kids as a generational thing. Like, oh, you can have a house on mom. Like, no, you shouldn't be doing that. It should be, this is your start to get off your feet. But you shouldn't be still living on this shit in your 40s and you paying $100 and something. And then you have people that are living in these houses. I researched this before because I want to fucking know. People living in these houses that are making six figures a fucking year and they pay regular rent. Like if they was living down in Center City for a fucking condo.
Gotta work the system.
And they pay a regular rent. It's a Benz in their fucking driveway. A brand new one. They got big screen TVs. Kids go to fucking private school, all types of shit. They live in the best life in a public fucking assistance house that they don't need because they have the means to get a regular fucking house.
Right. All right. So when it comes to that aspect, I agree with you. Now, one thing I will say, struggle has no age. So I will say that, you know, some people,
Right.
they be older, and, you know, just because they're older doesn't mean they're not dealing with struggle too. But on the same hand, just like you said, some people are taking advantage of it, and it's making it harder on other people that really need it.
Right.
Like it's people that really legitimately need housing assistance, but they can't get it because all of these places are taken, I should say, because it's people in there. They actually have jobs. They're actually making a good income. They're living in these housing projects. They're buying all of this fancy name brand stuff. All of this, the kid gotta have this. They paying for the baby dad. The baby dad might be locked up. He never know, but she gotta put money on his books. But they don't want to do better. And then they start complaining when the people say, "Oh, you making too much. You gotta get out of here." And they start complaining, "Oh, I gotta pay $800 a month. $800. You go from paying $400 to $800. I wish I could pay $800. That's you can't even get a studio for $800 nowadays.
Listen,
you kidding me?
Unless you got unless you're doing private landlords, and that's the only way that you getting something that's, you know, remotely good.
People take advantage of that's the problem. The problem isn't the housing authority specifically. The problem is the people that take advantage of it. Like, you're making over 80, 90, $100,000 a year, like you say, but you coming home and you ain't gotta pay. You paying $100 for your rent. You barely paying anything for this. And you got all this cars and all this, and you fucking up for the people that's really struggling, that's really not making anything. They can't find a place to live. They've been trying to apply for this. They can't get food stamps because the government says if you make which I don't know how
you
they
made $200 over. I think it's like $1,200 or some shit like that. You can't get food stamps. Oh, okay.
Yeah, like they making up these rules, but
somebody down the street is getting $1,500 worth of food.
I do agree with them. Because, like, even when you go to college, like, you got these kids that's paying for housing, they gotta pay $12, $13, $14 for housing on campus. That's included in their tuition. It's probably more than that, actually.
They should be the ones getting help too. It's just like this is not hating on anybody. Like,
no, definitely not.
Do what you gotta do. But what I'm saying is y'all can't be out here flexing if your rent is $150.
Yeah. You need to hear the truth, because some people won't tell you the truth. Like, this is the truth. Like,
your rent is $150. You barely working. You getting food stamps. You getting cash. All you and your kids is all on state insurance.
Right.
But you got the newest bundles in your ear. Your kids have the best lavish fucking birthdays everywhere. You went to Jamaica, Puerto Rico, Mexico. Yeah. You went to a couple places this year.
You ain't take your kids nowhere.
Ain't take kids no fucking where. But you live in public assistance. So in my head, I feel as though you can afford a regular lifestyle. You don't need public assistance.
Listen, get your kids up out of there, man. You making good money. Get your kids. Your kids actually want to go outside and play and not have to worry about these issues, or like get them out of that environment. It's not even that it's a bad environment all the time, but sometimes just by coincidence, by accident, the kid might stumble across something.
Yeah,
you don't want your kid to stumble across that.
Just because you're in public housing doesn't mean that you're in a different fucking environment.
Right.
It doesn't mean that. It just means that you're just comfortable being there because it's cheap, because you don't want to take that jump in life that you should, and make something better for yourself. If you're there because if you got there because you were struggling,
right? But now you're up.
And because if you live in here, this is my whole thing. If you live in here and your rent is cheap and you know your kids is basically taken care of, by the state, you should be saving. Your money management should be better than anybody else's.
Absolutely.
So that way you know that if you came up out of this, you'll be perfectly fucking fine.
Right. Listen, we're not talking down on nobody, but you need to hear the truth. Like we say, the truth you don't always want to hear.
But you need to hear it.
Exactly. You need to hear that truth. Like, go ahead, you can make a better life for yourself. Y'all got all that money from last year. Y'all got this, y'all got that. Like, you make something out of it. Don't just sit there. Shit, if you got all that money, at least be smart with it. Pay your rent a year in advance. That way you ain't got to worry about month to month. Year in advance, what, $1,000, probably $2,000 to keep it being with you. You paying $100 a month.
You can take all the trips you want to.
Absolutely.
Take all the trips. You got all the food. You do whatever you got to do. You can do it. You can do it.
Back to these quotes. So it says, sometimes you think that you want to disappear, but all you really want is to be found. Right.
Because you ever been like, I know somebody can attest this, being in a room full of people and feeling like nobody can see you. Because nobody knows.
Yeah.
You might want to disappear because you feel like nobody understands you. But that's just because either you're not explaining it to the right person or you're not explaining it well enough. You're downplaying what you're going through. That's coming back to saying, I'm okay.
Just to make it seem like you're okay. Yeah. Yes. Don't downplay yourself.
Don't downplay your issues. Whatever they are, play them to the highest fucking point. Because if you feeling depressed, say it. I am depressed. Like I'm feeling trapped, or my mind is getting the best of me these days. I'm not saying like you're being suicidal or anything like that. I'm just saying that you might feel like at that moment that nobody can see you for exactly what you're going through, for exactly who you are, and you just feel alone.
Right.
So it's always better to tell somebody about it.
But
and if they don't get it the first time, because if you're like, say if you were like the class clown or whatever the case, if you were always joking, and then you come to everybody and you be like, you know, I'm feeling down, I feel this way, and they be like, yeah, get the fuck out of here, like you'll be all right. And they'll take that, and you know they'll say that because they're not taking you serious. They're not used to seeing you that way. Right. And if you just brush it off as if they don't give a fuck, you can't do that. Sometimes you got to repeat yourself and be like, no, I'm really serious. I need help. And then if your real friends, the real people around you that give a fuck about you will see that. Right. Now you're in a room full of people that can see you, but they won't see you if you don't assert it. You have to be assertive with whatever you're trying to get somebody to understand. Right. Be assertive about it.
And don't take all your problems, every problem that you have to that person, because they're going to probably get tired of it.
Yeah, you can't. Don't unload every time. Yeah, don't unload
every time you're dealing with something. Don't just keep unloading all your problems to that person. Like
that's what a therapist is licensed
go to a therapist.
They're licensed for you to unload all your bags.
Because then the friend gonna be like, all right, now this is all right.
Now I need somebody to talk to.
Yeah, exactly. Now they depressed.
now I feel the way.
You done made them depressed.
Like sheesh.
It's sometimes you have to make a decision that will hurt your heart but will heal your soul. Mm-hmm. And that's actually back to what we talked about earlier. Something you gotta make that step to you know is gonna you're gonna feel heartbroken. Mm-hmm. You're gonna feel heartbroken. Anything like you said, anything that makes you progress in life is gonna make you feel uncomfortable. Mm-hmm. You gotta feel uncomfortable in order for you to progress in life. Because if you comfortable all the time, if nothing's pushing you to feel uncomfortable, then you might not be doing something right.
You ain't moving.
Yeah,
you just stagnant. You comfortable. It's you comfortable. I'm just gonna sit here because it's comfortable.
Yeah, make sure y'all get that together. Because listen, get it together. Let's just get it together.
Comfortability makes you.
Let me ask you this question: Should people not date when they're healing?
It depends on what you're healing from. I would say
it does. I mean, because if you healing from like a death, that's one thing. But if you're healing from like a bad, traumatic past relationship ships, yeah, because you know some people jump relationship to relationship and don't actually give their self time to heal.
That's because they don't want to be alone. If you see somebody jump from relationship to relationship very quickly, they don't like to be by themselves.
It's not healthy. And
the one thing about it is that it's like I agree with this and I don't agree with it on this. I agree with it and I disagree at the same time when people say like you need time between relationships, because I know myself is just like in a relationship, if I'm feeling unhappy, I done talked about it, I done tried to deal with it, and the person is still doing the shit that they were doing that was bothering me, and now I have to get myself to the point where I need to leave, because abruptly leaving, you know, I'm not going to do that.
Right.
Because something else is holding me there, but I have the steps when I leave mentally and emotionally. When I stop feeling that mentally and emotionally, because physical is the easiest part. Right. I feel so. Physical is the easiest part. Like I can stop having sex with you. I can stop showing you affection. It is what it is. Like you ain't getting a hug, you ain't shake high five.
She said you ain't getting a hug or a high five.
Up, none of that. So that's done. Now mentally and emotionally, I have to separate myself as well, and that's the hardest part. But once I do that, the relationship has a ticking time bomb to where it's done, and it's not gonna be an explosive thing. Mm-hmm. I'm just gonna leave it alone.
Right.
And now once I do that, I already did that in the relationship, which is the sad part. I've done that in the relationship. So when the relationship finally ends, I went through my healing process already.
Yeah. You know what I'm saying? So you was healing what you was still with the person.
Yeah, I was healing when I was with the person. So once I'm out of that relationship, if I get into a situation, not a relationship, if I start talking to somebody in the next week or 2 weeks, it's perfectly fine. And I didn't need to take a whole year to get through that. But everybody is not like that. Some people leave the relationship abruptly, but they have to go through the healing process by themselves.
Right.
If you acknowledge that you need to go through this healing process, it's perfectly fine. If you're like talking to people during this process, that's okay.
Right.
But always have yourself mentally together. That's why I say it's not even healing. Mentally together before you get into something else.
Don't come to me all broken into pieces.
Yeah.
Like you Humpty Dumpty, you just fell off the wall.
Like I'm not putting you back together like that.
Yeah, nah. I didn't got. It's not enough super glue or
monster glue.
Yeah, like now
glue gun,
because you know it's hard to try to deal with somebody that you're dating. Like you just met this person, you're just dating, and then out of new, and then like you said, I said before, you do something small, and then they snapping on you. You like, oh, I don't even think it was that serious, but you triggered that person.
Yeah.
And you like, oh shit, my bad. You gotta say you sorry, but that person already they're so hurt. They're so on edge.
They don't even want to talk about it.
They're on edge. They don't even want to talk about it. But you trying to figure out, dang, why they cut me off? I didn't. You think you ain't do nothing crazy, but the whole time you hit that button.
You hit something with them, and now you just sitting there stuck. Like,
are insecurities a part of somebody that's not completely healed, or is that just a natural thing?
no, I think that's a natural thing. Everybody has an insecurity, whether it's big or small. Like, you might be insecure about your toenails. It's small. It doesn't.
Wait, what?
I'm just saying, some people are insecure,
People insecure about their toenails?
Yeah, they might be insecure about their forehead. Like, that's not something that's gonna stop you from dating somebody. It's just say I got a big ass forehead. Sometimes it bothers me. Sometimes I don't give a fuck. Sometimes I got the hairstyle that covers it, and sometimes I just be like, damn.
You know how hard it is for me to find hats?
See?
I got this fucking noggin. You kidding me?
It's just stuff it's stuff that may just bother you about yourself, and then from there you just progress with it. And then there are big insecurities that people have that they need to work through. Right. If you have a body appearance insecurity, like something that's not something that's just mine, like, yeah, I'm tired of these love handles, or I got a little bit of a belly,
right?
Like, something like that it might be small, but to somebody else it's a big thing.
Right.
And they they can feel like, as much as I tackle this or try to eat better or try to exercise, I just don't have the motivation to keep it going.
Right.
So I don't feel as though an insecurity is always a bad thing. It becomes a bad thing when you decide to always use your insecurity
against somebody.
I think
so. Yeah. Don't be in an argument. Don't wait till it's like an argument or some type of disagreement, and then bring up that insecurity about something that in the past that somebody did and try to use that. Don't ever use a past reference with a present situation.
Mm-hmm. Or if you in a relationship and you, like, your significant other is like in love with you, like they love you for everything that you are, and they try to make you feel better about whatever you're dealing with. But you might see, like, okay, if you have a body appearance insecurity, but your partner try to make you feel good about your body, or tries to motivate you to change whatever you want to change about your body, and stay motivated about it. But then you might see them liking a picture of a girl on Instagram or Facebook or something like that, or liking a picture of a guy on Instagram and Facebook that, looks a certain way, and you feel some type of way about it. Now you're mad at them, and it's just like, all they did was like a picture. Right. They weren't intentionally saying like, oh, I gotta like it, I'm commenting, and I saved it, it's my screensaver now. Like, oh, baby, why don't you look like this person? It's not that. It's just the simple fact they just liked it. That's it. But on the other hand, they're motivating you to change what you don't like.
Absolutely.
Not telling you need to change it, but motivating you to change it. Right. Because you want to change it. You discuss changing. You talk about it all the fucking time.
Yeah. Like we say, so you gotta make them uncomfortable.
Like, what the fuck? Yeah. So when are you gonna decide, like, this person is motivating me to do it, like, I need to take them up on it. Like, I need to be consistent with it.
Absolutely.
Then you'll feel better. You don't even give a fuck if they double tapping on pictures. You don't give a fuck because you know what you look like. You know how you feel that about yourself. That confidence exudes, and other people can see it. When you're not confident about yourself, when you're not confident about something, people can feel that. Right. They can feel that, and then they'll tune in onto that, and you'll feel like everybody's staring at you. Yeah.
Listen, it's funny. Ant walked there earlier. He actually said, "What would we consider this podcast?" He hit us with the gender accountability. I like that one. That's a good way to that's a good way to put a bow on that. Like gender accountability. That's a gender accountability podcast. I like that. Definitely like that. So Ash, wrap this up when it comes to healing, and put the show in a bow for us.
Okay. So I know it's still kind of a pandemic, but life is kind of going back to normal. We still got masks, we still have vaccines and everything like that. But during the pandemic, I know a lot of people went through things of healing and coping with things that they didn't heal. They weren't able to heal or cope with because of the hustle bustle in life. And this pandemic kind of made everybody sit still and have to realize there are a lot of things that we thought we were okay with, but we're not okay with. Right. And I hope that everybody took that time to actually deal with those things and either talk to somebody else about it or even talk to yourself, because sometimes when you have a lot of things on your brain, on your mind, you don't have the chance to talk to somebody. I hope you chose this time to talk it out loud. I do that every day. If I need to unload my day, sometimes I don't want to talk to somebody else. I just talk out loud because it helps, because all of those thoughts that were bothering me, now they're out loud. And I can see how minuscule they are to how major they are, and if I need to take extra steps to deal with them. So on today's episode, because we did healing versus coping and dealing with, I hope you are healing from something that was bothering you, from an emotional journey that you're on. And I hope that you're not just coping with it and pushing it underneath a rug.
Absolutely. Work on yourself, people.
Work on yourself and heal with whatever is bothering you head on. Let it not take control over you and let it not put you in a bubble. Yeah. Because as messed up as things may be going in this world, and as much as we may see it every day on the news or social media or somebody telling you about it, don't let it consume you. Because, like I said, you can't look at life always as the glass half empty because it's half full. Because Absolutely. Something that may be going on with somebody else, it's not going on with you.
Yeah, you might think your life is terrible, but your life is 10 times better than somebody else's life.
10 times better than somebody else. And I'm not saying take that and run with it because it's 10 times better, but just
exactly. I always want to improve, but
rejoice on the things that are going well in your life instead of dwelling on the things that are going bad.
Absolutely, man. Like we say, common sense ain't always so common, you know. So make sure you put a little bit more smarts in the world. We definitely appreciate y'all for listening. Appreciate y'all for watching. Definitely subscribe. And on that note, it's the boy Vance.
And I'm Ash.
I'll let y'all.
Come on, make it, baby. Make it make sense. Come on, make it make sense. Come on, make it, baby. Make it make sense. Come on, make it